See, this is why my wife ends up getting on me because like we spend like the first 10
Yeah.
minutes like just having casual conversation before we start. And then like by the time we get done, by the time we record for an hour or an hour 15 minutes,
Yeah, it's definitely.
then we have like another post show like
Yeah.
wrap up conversation. And so now she's like, "You've been potting for 2 hours." And I'm like, "I'm not Joe Budden. What are you talking about? I haven't been potting for 2 hours." Um, but when you add it all up, yeah, I guess I have.
We live, huh?
We are live, live. Yeah, so the world now knows that my wife is like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, we'll cut it out in the re-air. All right, let me.
A-Rod, NFL.
Well,
All of it. Boom. Just retweeted it.
excuse me. Other way, so this overdose, that's you and Gage in Chicago, right?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't realize that card was that big. They said they have 4 more announcements, and it's not a 2-day card. So I'm kind of like, oh my goodness, I'll be
All
battling
right, is that one round, 3 round?
one round. Gage, I don't know that I've ever seen outside of, was it he in the tournament or the season?
Yes, he was in the KOTD season.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of 3-round battles.
He made, I mean, he kind of made his name. What, the one rounder versus Goods?
Mm-hmm.
That might be close to 1 million. Last time I checked, it was in the 800,000 range. So he might be a couple of 100,000 away from hitting 1 million on that. Hold on, let me hit this.
Now he finally gets to talk to the plug that pulled up on a horse. And it's me.
Oh gosh, let me just hit. Let me not do too much right now. All right, let's get this show on the road. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and you're tuned into the only sports podcast with brains and bars. It's a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for It's a Black and White Thing or Brains and Bars on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can also check us out each week. We go live somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday on Twitter. I'm sorry, on Facebook. Well, I guess this is true. We go live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, but we want you to go to YouTube, want you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, share, comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's those boys again. And you can follow us on social media by searching at Brands and Bars on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And as you can see, I don't do the show by myself. I got my homie, my ace in the building. A Ward, what's going on with you, my guy?
It's the finer things, bro. It's the finer things. Something's wrong with the fingerprint sensor on my phone, and my life has been a wreck ever since. Like now I have to actually like type a password in, like, and I can't just, and it's driving me nuts. And so it's like that's my problems, you know, the fingerprint sensor. But no, man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hey, we made it. We were 5 for 5. We did 5 battles. We did 5 weeks, 11 total rounds. Had a great time in all of the cities. Now it's time to kick back, relax, and enjoy. Even though I go to Delaware on Thursday to do a poetry event with the Poets in Autumn. That should be fun. But I still got some stuff coming up. Soul Sessions in Kansas City, hopefully this month, and in a couple other events. But as far as battle rap, we're chilling. And thank you, Quest McCody. I appreciate you. This phone actually plays Buck Hunter a lot on a lot bigger screen, Quest. So maybe you should get one, since I know Quest McCody is actually the #1 battle rapper of all time at the game Buck Hunter. He has he's a very skilled buck hunter. So are you familiar with the game, A1?
No.
You ever seen those like orange guns and the blue guns with the arcade machine, and you like got to shoot at the, you know? Quest McCody is top tier when it comes to being in the wild in a, you know, and then shooting bucks. But yeah, I said all that to say, yeah, man, got some stuff coming up poetry wise, but chilling right now. We just had a big announcement, Tay Rock battle, end of April on the Riot. That's exciting. Monopoly 2. I'm so glad that did not autocorrect for you, mother. And so
I wouldn't have put that on the screen.
But she's mom speaking to Quest McCody's famous duck joke with his the what would you rather fight? I think it's like 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck or something like that. But yeah, it's a would you rather. But anyways, two great watchers of the show. Thanks, Quest. Thanks, Mom. Sorry for not answering your phone earlier, Mom. I was trying to nap before I had to do this. But yeah, it's good to be here, man. I said all that to say it's good to be here and excited for March. Very excited.
Sure, man. For sure. I mean, one of the great times of the year. One of the great times of the year, man. We got battle rap. We got March Madness. We got NFL free agency. We got a lot of great stuff happening. Conference tourneys getting ready to kick off. Big 12 getting ready to kick off in Kansas City. The women's final, I believe, is tomorrow.
Men's started today. It already kicked off.
Men started today. It is Texas, and I want to say K-State in the women's side for the title. And like you said, men's side is kicking off today. So great things happening in the world of sports. Great things happening in the world of battle rap. We're going to start this week on the sports side. Then we'll get to the battle rap side. So if you came for the battle rap, we will get here. We're going to talk about Ward's time in QB Black Diamond Battle League. Did I get that right?
Yep, Black Diamond Battle League. Just Black Diamond Battle League.
Black Diamond Battle League, excuse me. Pardon self. We'll talk about his time at Black Diamond Battle League, his battle versus Bangs. We're going to talk about, obviously, the big announcement. I'm assuming this is main event, Tay-Rock and A-Ward on Monopoly 2.
Listen, I assume so as well, but you never know. You never know, man. I don't get caught up in all of that. I know Let's Talk Battle Rap and a lot of these media outlets like to put together comprehensive lists of how many times you've main evented and done different things. Look, all I know is I have the best battles, and that's what matters. You know, I don't care when I go on the card. I don't care, what it looks like. So, but it is what it is.
All right. So Monopoly 2 going down April 28th in Orlando, Florida. Shout out to the team at the Riot, Geechee, KP. If I'm missing anybody, please forgive me. Pardon self as well on that. MSM3, I think it's got some stuff going on as well down during that time frame. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to start in the world of sports. And so let's get into this NFL free agency, man. We had a lot of it's had its ebbs and flows since the legal tampering period kicked off. First of all, before we get started, shout out JC. We're going to have you on at some point. We do have a collab coming up with your podcast here at the end of April to get ready for the NFL draft. But salute to you. We're going to make that happen at some point.
Gotcha.
But anyway, NFL free agencies had some ebbs and some flows to it. Couple of big dominoes. We can start here in Kansas City. Chris Jones re-signs with the Chiefs as a 5-year deal, but in reality, it's really like a 3-year, $95 million guarantee deal. So they'll see where they are after that 3rd year. But it's 5 years, $150 million. And he got the thing that I personally believe that he wanted, which was the highest paid defensive player in the league title. I think he wanted that last year. The Chiefs balked at it. They said, prove it. Prove your work. He bet on himself. You know what I'm saying? He got on the app. He placed the bet on DraftKings. I put it all on Chris Jones, and he cashed it in. He got just about every incentive that was in his contract. I think there was a sack incentive that he didn't reach. I think he had to get like 15 of them. He didn't get that, but Super Bowl win, All-Pro nod, playoff incentive, everything. He just got just about everything, and they paid him.
There was a sack incentive that he ended up getting, right? Because remember wasn't they?
Yes, that's true. So he might have got that one. I thought there might have been, if he got to 15, maybe he might have gotten like an extra $1 million or something like that. But yes, he did get a sack incentive as well. So, shout out to him. He got his bread. To me, he is the cornerstone of the Chiefs franchise, and he's going to, in his words, he's going to retire a Chief. So I would assume if things go well, this will be his final contract in the NFL, and he's going to retire a very happy and rich man. So, I mean, real quick, your response to seeing Chris Jones come back to Chiefs Kingdom to lead that defense once again.
Yeah, that was the number one priority going into the offseason was re-signing Chris Jones. You can look around at all free agency and say, we need this, please, we need this. No, number one thing was re-signing Chris Jones, and that's what they did. And they needed to do it. They had to do it. They paid him. Like we talked about, He played. He sat up there with his agent and watched the Detroit Lions game. We lost that first game at home. He looked around. He said, "All right, I'm back. Watch this." You know what I mean? Like, and I just think, he made every move correctly. He made every move correctly, and I think we talked about it on one of the episodes. Like, to me, he was just as important to this Chiefs winning a Super Bowl as Patrick Mahomes was this year, in the postseason. As many touchdowns as Patrick Mahomes put on the board, I would say that Chris Jones took off the board for opposing teams. And his presence, man, like you said, you're on mute, but his presence is the cornerstone of that defensive front. And I definitely think re-signing him was the priority, and I'm glad it got done.
So let me say this too. Shout out to his representation, the Katz brothers. They took a lot of heat in the offseason last year for how they handled this contract negotiation. There were lots of get these low-level goofballs out of here. These guys don't know what they're doing. They're going to ruin your career, yada, yada, yada. They got your guy paid, man. And I think you got to salute them and the job they've done. And for them, when these NFL contracts are signed, right, when the numbers come out, the numbers are not only for the player, but they're also for the agent, because it looks great when you're the agency that says, we got our guy the highest contract ever, regardless of position. So for them, their tactics work, and it might lead to them landing some more high-profile agents, maybe mid-tier guys. And so, again, congratulations to those guys, because they made a nice little commission off of that. I had some friends tell me at the barbershop, Chris Jones should fire them guys. And if he wants to be the highest paid, the way you get to be highest paid is you take 28, 29 million, but you don't have a commission to pay. You don't have to give an agent 5 to 7%. And I'm like, guys, that's not how this game's work. That's not how these things go. These guys have ego, they have pride, and they want to, again, you put your entire life to this. And that check, while it does not completely define you, it does not completely bring value to your life, it does bring value to them to be able to say, yeah, I'm number one.
Yeah.
Like I make more money than Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to that. So let's keep it moving. Let's talk. Speaking of getting paid, speaking of bread,
get paid. Kirk Cousins get paid. Get paid.
Legend at the bank.
Yo,
like, I don't know if Kirk is, if he does, like, I can see Kirk being a small-time credit union guy just supporting small business.
Yeah.
But if he is a part of a national chain, I assume that someone is calling him at least once a month to say, hey, Mr. Cousins, this is, Carlos Johnson from Chase Bank. And I just wanted to talk to you to see if you, need help managing your funds. You want to put something in an annuity? Right, you want to put something in a CD? We can. If you want to come into the office, we can sit down and talk, and we can talk about how we can grow your portfolio. Like, I'm pretty sure he's getting these calls once a month because he is a true legend at the bank. He signs a 4-year. Was it 4-year or 3-year? I think it's 3-year, $150 million.
The only person happier than Kirk Cousins is the pastor at his Baptist church when they know they're about to start a building fund. Like, we're about to do a building fund. Would anybody like to sow a seed? They just look dead at Kirk Cousins.
Like that baptismal pool not going to build itself, my guy. You know what I'm saying? So let me get the numbers right. 4 years, $180 million. It's $100 million guaranteed over the first 3 years. That's the numbers I had in my head. And here's the thing, like, Kirk Cousins when at the end of that $100 million that he's guaranteed, he's going to end up somewhere around like between 3rd and 4th all time in career salary. I think he's going to have made
over $400 million.
Over $400 million, and he has one playoff win. Like, I aspire
on the flip side. Are you excited about the potential of Kyle Pitts being better this year?
Oh, free Kyle Pitts. He might.
I think Kirk can get him the ball. I think Kirk. I like Kirk with Kyle.
I'll say this. I think that Kirk is going to an offense that might be better than the Vikings offense. Now, new coaching staff, new offensive coordinator, so you got to see how that lines up because he had a good thing going in Minnesota, right, with Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison was a nice rookie addition. KJ Osborne was a nice supplementary receiver, right? But you're going to go with Drake London. Didn't have Bijan.
Nope.
You didn't have Bijan Robinson. Tyler Algier is a nice backup running back. You got Drake London. You got Kyle Pitts. You just got Darnell Mooney. Like, you got some nice weapons in Atlanta. And that defense, which they got Raheem Morris to be their new head coach, or defensive guy, was not a bad defense. They just didn't have the quarterback play, as Raheem Morris will tell you. Because he was not shy about saying that the quarterback play is what held them back. But I think Kirk, they were second place in the division. They were in the running for that division until just about the end of the season.
Not as tough division.
No. I mean, the Saints
as
the Saints still have
Lions and Bears.
Absolutely. Like the Saints. I mean, shout out to your guy Kamara, but I don't think that. I do not think that Derek Carr is the answer at quarterback.
Yeah.
Baker and the Bucs will still be formidable. I think Baker's going to have another good season, although he lost his offensive coordinator. So we'll see I don't know who they're replacing with because I haven't checked, but we'll see how that offense continues to evolve with the new guy at the helm. And then, the Panthers, we going to get to them. Let me put a pin. Let's get a couple of comments here. So shout out to the homie Los. He says Kyle Pitts would not get any better. And I think that is a lie. I think Kyle Pitts is a really good tight end. I just think he had Arthur Smith basically say, we're going to throw to Jonnu Smith instead of you. Let me see if I can find this tweet real quick. I don't know if I think I posted this to one of the group chats we're in.
I think that I think Bijan Robinson sees a much heavier workload next year. And with the emergence of how good he is, will free up, a little bit of the wide receivers and tight ends for more targets for people having to focus on Bijan Robinson, because I think nobody was really worried, about anybody last year.
Yeah, they didn't use him. They didn't use Bijan a lot in the past game, so that part of his game has yet to be fully explored. Like I said, you have the weapons. You're going to have the drafts. To me, this is going to be a really good team. Let me see if I can find this tweet. So I might actually put this on the screen just so the people can actually see. So every year when free agency starts, I get on Twitter or I get into a group chat and I go, guys, I could do this job. And I'm not saying that because I think I'm like that I think I'm Ozzie Newsome or Brett Veach or Howie Roseman, right? I don't think I'm just like, yeah, I played, 10,000 hours of Madden, and so my GM skills are legit. Like, I'm not even on that type of time. Although I am a 7-time fantasy football champion. I just like to throw that out there.
Doesn't count if you do 30 leagues a year. Keep going.
Wow. That's low. That one hurt. That one hurt. You know what I mean? But I say I could do this job. And part of the reason I say I could do this job, I want to show you what the Panthers have done. So just off top, they just traded Brian Burns, who signed a new deal in New York.
Yeah.
They traded Christian McCaffrey, and they traded DJ Moore, right? So these are three really good players. Let me show you what they have done with these picks. All right. So let me go make sure you guys can see it. So here's what the Panthers traded. They traded the first overall pick in this year's draft, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, last year's first round pick to jump up to get Bryce Young, last year's second round pick, this year's first round, next year's first round. All right. In exchange, they had a 1-year rental of Brian Burns, who they were offered 2 1s and a 2, turned it down, didn't take it. They got a 2nd and a 5th round draft pick for Brian Burns. They got Bryce Young, and they got an edge rusher who has not made his mark yet. So again, Caleb Williams, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, 2 first round draft picks and a 2nd round draft pick. And that is what they have to show for it. Guys, you could hire me for that. You could for a fraction of the price. All I need is $1 million a year. You can hire me for 5 years, $1 million, 5 mil, 5-year deal, $1 million a year. And I can come in and do this. I can be that incompetent. That is terrible. And this team is, unless they figure something out, they're going to be terrible again this year. They're going to be worse in the division, probably one of the worst teams in the league, and they still won't have their first round pick. Again, I think Ward, I think you could do this job.
I need them to, because my newly pulled Bryce Young rookie cards are not very valuable.
Hey, hold on to him. Maybe if he goes down in infamy, they might be worth something. Speaking of not value, I won't pull that tweet up, but the Mac Jones.
We'll leave Mac Jones alone right now.
All right, my fault. Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused though. But again, all I'm saying is, as it comes to Kirk Cousins, hey, I need his agent. I need Kirk to come to some motivation, invite him to the church. He can talk to us about how to get the bag. Maybe we need to do the prayer of Jabez. Maybe we need to give a little bit more. I don't know if it's prosperity gospel he believes in, but whatever. The Lord is increasing him over what blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed when he comes, blessed when he goes. His cup runneth over with bread. So again, whether Kirk is worth that type of money, that's not for me to say. I'm never going to hate on nobody getting their money, but he got bread. Salute to you, sir. You are a legend at the bank for sure. All right, man, let's keep it moving. So other big news, Russell Wilson got his release from the Denver Broncos. They owe that the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history. I think it's $85 million. They owe him, I think, $39 this year and some extra bread next year. He signs a 1 year, like $1 million vet minimum deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so he is now in Steeler country. Let's ride. Or Steelers Nation. I don't know which one they go by.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, can I just say this before I have you react to that? I have been the OG, the original
this is true.
Russell Wilson hater.
Very true.
I have been slandering him for 14 years.
This is also true.
And I am now in an unfamiliar territory because I now live in a place where I have to defend Russell Wilson. I can't really make fun of him anymore. It's kind of like this. When Drake blew up, I was the first Drake fan in my crew, in our peer group. And when he blew up, I was a little upset. I resented his success for a little bit. And the downfall of Russ has come so quickly that I can't enjoy the slander anymore. And so Sean Payton is on my Kofi list forever and a day because he has put me in a position where I can't even hate the man no more.
Right.
So with that being said, does the addition of Russell Wilson move the needle at all for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I will say that last year was an encouraging sight for Russell Wilson. Like, I think he played well at times last year. I think he, I don't think he's going to the Steelers. I think he's going to the Steelers as a starting quarterback. I know that they say he's going in there to compete with Kenny Pickett. No, Russell Wilson will be starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Mike Tomlin is an incredible head coach. And so,
sure.
I'm not sure what that looks like as from a quarterback standpoint because he's basically had Ben Roethlisberger and then a handful of bums that haven't panned out. But yes, I do agree Russ is an upgrade over Kenny Pickett. I think that he will do well there. And what's crazy is that at Pittsburgh, all you have to do is do well because Mike Tomlin can take anybody behind center and go 9-8. If your quarterback can get you 2 wins or 3, you might win the division. You might be a top 2 or 3 seed. So, I think George Pickens is going to benefit heavily from it. They just traded Deontay Johnson to the Panthers. The Panthers just picked up Deontay Johnson. They still got Najee Harris in the backfield along with the young bull.
Jaylen Warren.
Since it's Pittsburgh, well, it's technically Philly slang, but since we're in Pennsylvania, we got Warren. And you got the young tight end, who's nice.
Pat Freiermuth.
Yep. So yeah, man, I'm excited for them. I think that the Kenny Pickett experience is over. It was great. He was from there. He went to Pittsburgh.
To Pitt. Yeah.
You know, those stories sound good until you get into professional sports. And let me let you guys know something. They don't give a damn where you're from, who you play for. If your third grade teacher's husband has been a locker room management guy for 40 years, it don't matter. You need to get W's.
If you trash, you trash. And so I guess here's to me, this is the question. Can Russell Wilson improve the Steelers by 2 games?
That's a tough division, bro. I mean, you get Burrow back, you got Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson probably come back, which we don't know what I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not putting Deshaun Watson up there with Lamar and Burrow. I put him and Russ probably in the same category right now. As like prove it to me, prove it that you got it or whatever. But that's a very, very tough division to be going. If Russ was going into the Falcons, you know what I mean? Like Kirk is, like I'd be like, oh, okay, you get you a couple, but he is going to quite possibly the best coach in that division. And I don't know, that's tough to say with Harbaugh, but I don't know, what that looks like or what Mike Tomlin, his impact on the quarterback position will be. But I think he can improve him by 1 or 2 games. Yeah. He hopefully does.
So they got the NFC, they got AFC West this year. So they'll be, they get KC at home. And it looks like they have the NFC East and for the NFC division that they need to face. So, I mean, that's going to be a really tough schedule for a team that finished second in their division. You got to face KC, Chargers at home, Raiders and Broncos on the road.
It's not even really the schedule though. It's the bringing back like Watson and Burrow. Like they finished second in their division, but a lot of that was attributed to playing against Burrow-less Cincinnati and Joe Flacco led Cleveland Browns. And I think even though the Cleveland Browns still had a crazy good defense, and they probably will again this year. I don't know if it's all schedule based.
Well, I mean, in free agency, right? They added Patrick Queen from Baltimore.
That was a huge pickup too.
Huge pickup for them. I feel like Joey Porter Jr. showed some promise the latter half of the season. He was a rookie. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick at safety. TJ Watt. Yeah. And Alex Highsmith on the other end. And Cameron Hayward is getting up there in age, but he still has the potential to be a productive guy on the interior. If they got rid of Deontay Johnson, but the one thing it seems like the Steelers can do better than just about anybody in the league is find wide receivers, especially in the draft. So can Pickens fix his attitude, get himself together? Like you said, you mentioned Freiermuth. Can they find another target on the outside? And can Russell improve them by 2 games? Because that defense is going to keep them in a lot of games that maybe they shouldn't even be in. Sorry, I just saw this, man. I just saw. Hold on, can you see that? This is from organic. How do I boo the Chiefs on here?
Yes. Shout out to the Raiders. They made some
Christian Wilkins.
Yes.
That's a big one. Although they got Minshew Mania, I'm assuming to be their QB1, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's my question. Like, can Russell improve the Steelers by 2 games? If they can somehow figure that out.
My first written bar of free agency was, okay, sometimes I put together a parlay to get paid at times. A Christian trying to hit the max on those Las Vegas lines. Yeah, let's go Christian Wilkes and whack Max Crosby on the Las Vegas line. Let's go. What?
This is why you wanted the GOATs at sports bars. That's why you wanted the best.
I sent it to Gerald McCoy. I was like, here you go. Here's my first sports bar.
Trent, get out of here.
Yes, on Monopoly Go to try to think of bars for the Monopoly event on the Riot. So, I'll be on there.
Yeah. So shout out Nate. Nate, I'm assuming you are a Steelers fan.
Yes, Nate. That's my dog right there. I know Nate for 15 years, 20 years. I don't know.
So for those who are listening on podcasts, it says we're now in the market for Higgins or dark horse Ridley. I don't know, because I saw that Ridley wanted to stay in Jacksonville. I believe, God, what team was pursuing him? It wasn't the Raiders, was it?
They just picked up a receiver though, didn't they? Jacksonville.
They signed Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
I forget the team. There was a team that was pursuing Calvin, but the story goes that he wanted to try to make things work in Jacksonville. So we'll see what happens there. But Patriots. Thank you, Organic. Patriots were trying to get him. So, I mean, look, man.
Higgins at the Steelers would kind of be crazy. Is it just me, or this year, or is it everybody's going within a division? Is that just this year, or is that every year? I'm just noticing it because
I feel like it's a little bit more heavy this year, but it's in free agency, right? Like it is rare to see an intra-division trade, right? Like, again, I think I might have referenced last year or last week when the Washington acquired Donovan McNabb from Philly, right? Like, that's one of those where it's just like, we think you're done. And so we're so not afraid of you. We're so comfortable. We'll play you 2 times a year.
Yeah.
But shout out to Saquon. We can talk about that. Well, let me say one last thing about this, and we can move on to Saquon. If anybody can bring down the whole Mike Tomlin has never finished below 500 streak, it's Russell Wilson.
That's how much you hate Russell Wilson. You feel like
wait. Let's be real.
No,
y'all know what we wouldn't.
It's not Russell Wilson.
If he could bring it down too, he could bring it crashing down spectacularly. But if anybody can stop that streak, it is Russell Wilson for sure. And let me say this. Hopefully,
Russ, an intentional grounding call that loses them the game.
That they never call on him, that he has spent an entire career getting. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Anyway, look at this. Did we discuss Justin Fields coming to the Chiefs to back up Pat? No, because it's not happening. Yeah. Get out of you Chiefs fans. Get out of here, man. Don't get me started on y'all. Don't get me started on y'all. All right, but let's keep it moving, man. Let's keep it moving. So we talked about briefly Saquon Barkley moving on in division, going from the Giants to sign a 3-year, $37 million deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'll say this, like, there have been conversations about running backs, what they're worth, should they get paid? We talked about Chris Jones betting on himself. Saquon Barkley bet on himself. I think he only wanted 13 from, I think he wanted 16. He wanted 16 from the Giants. They were only willing to go to 13. He got 15 from the Eagles. He gets to play New York twice a year on right now what is a better team. Like, this is like being in a relationship with someone. They're not fulfilling whatever needs you have, or whatever, the relationship's not working well. And then you go and find a better looking, more successful person to be with. And you get to see this person around your way, and they get to see you with this better
somebody
looking
within
person.
The friend group, like we all hanging out.
I mean, I stopped. Listen, I stopped short. I stopped short of that. But absolutely, this is finding the, like, I was aiming for her anyway. Yeah. I just happened to land with you. Yeah. But now we are and you get to watch us blossom and bloom, and this could be the start of a beautiful relationship. So shout out to Saquon getting his bread, man. Shout out to Saquon getting his bread and going to a really good situation.
I think that's it's basically two running backs that have now entered 2 new teams where they're high, read option style, teams, with Lamar Jackson getting Derrick Henry and Jalen Hurts getting Saquon Barkley. It's just it'll be really, really interesting to see. I personally thought DeAndre Swift was very good for the Eagles last year. I don't know that Saquon gives them something that I'm going to be like, watch this. You know what I mean? I don't know how much better they will be, but I do know Saquon is really, really talented, really, really talented. And he's been hindered from being 8 in the box, the focal point of an offense. And so maybe, there is, that chance that, hey, these eyes are not on me. Watch the plays I can make, and then Derrick Henry, man, talk about somebody that just that can get you 3-4 yards no matter what every time. And just the thought of having to, on a 3rd and short or a 2nd and 4, having to focus on Derrick Henry is just going to open up Lamar so much more. It's going to be ridiculous. So that's Shout out to Saquon because I've always liked Saquon. I've always thought he needed to get paid. I'm kind of with you on running back value. It is tough to kind of really gauge, but he's a talented running back for sure.
For sure. And just a quick note on Derek, man. Like, I'll say, hopefully Todd Monken learned from what happened in the AFC title game. And now that you got Derrick Henry, now you got a guy where you should probably be fired if you go into a game against the Chiefs or anybody in the playoffs and Derrick Henry doesn't have at least 15 touches.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if Lamar doesn't have at least 8 or 9 design runs, because you have – I don't think Derrick Henry has lost a step, but I don't think it was an issue. Shout out to Titans Glide. This is a good time to switch topics. But I don't think it was an issue of Derrick Henry, of him being washed. I think the situation was not good. The quarterback play. Will Levis is learning. I think look, me and you on the show were not Will Levis fans, and to me, it was not a bad rookie season. So they might have something to build on. But you have
definitely not a bad rookie season considering the year before was Malik Willis, and you're just like, all right, you know what? Like if we're comparing those,
dog. Like so
Malik
yeah.
Willis
so I mean,
is
like,
going to be starting for the St. Louis Battlehawks in the next year or two on whatever league decides.
Whatever the XFL is now called, the American Football Association of Football. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, but I mean, so I think that is a great situation for them, and I mean they should be right back in another.
This is really, I mean, I guess Saquon popped up towards the end of Eli's career, right? Maybe his rookie season was.
Yes. So they drafted Saquon because they had a top 5 pick. They could have gone quarterback. They went with Saquon because they had Odell. Odell was still there, right?
Yeah.
And so they thought, okay, we can maximize the very end of Eli's career by getting him a running back and a dope wide receiver. So yeah.
But Saquon and Derrick Henry are 2 running backs that have always been, the offensive focal point. Even Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill has some good years, but you didn't have years where it was like, what are we game planning for?
Yes.
And now they're both on teams where they can do without, they can, like the teams that can run, and they're just an asset rather than the focus, so that'll be interesting to see both of them.
So last thing, and we can get into our mock draft here. Watch, because they went and got Derrick Henry. They let Gus Edwards walk. I forget where he went. The Chargers. He went to the Chargers.
He
went from one Harbaugh to the other one.
Yep.
Watch them go draft Audric Estime in the 4th or 5th round. This is the guy you call Baby Fournette that played for Notre Dame. Just because,
I've seen that guy. Yeah, Baby Fournette, number 7. He's a monster.
Yep. Just because they got Derrick Henry. They're going to need a bruising back for the future once Henry's done, because I think they re-sign him at the end of this 2-year deal.
Yeah.
And I think they go and get Audric Estime in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
Let him develop, and then he's going to be the next bruiser to follow up once Derrick Henry's off the scene. Just because that's what the Ravens do. They find really good talent that is undervalued. And at the combine,
you think J.K. Dobbins is done? Like, I mean, what's the
J.K. Dobbins is a free agent. I don't think
I know that.
Yeah. And my concern with J.K. is just the injuries, man.
Yeah, of course. He's coming off Achilles as well, right?
Yeah, and I think before that was ACL.
Yeah, okay.
So he's just had so many.
Now the Titans picked up Tony Pollard, right?
Yes. So Titan Glide. Actually, J.K. Dobbins is still under contract. He's still well, no. Hold on. No, he's a free agent. I didn't think so. Yeah, he's a free agent. So we'll see what happens. But yes, they picked up Titans Glide just for you. They picked up Pollard, who I think is a good him, and I'm trying to think of the young boy that they drafted that played in relief for Henry last year.
They still got Dameon Pierce, right?
No, Dameon Pierce is Houston.
Oh, he's with the Texans. Oh, I know who you're talking about. My bad. I know you're talking about
Tyjae Spears. Thank you, Titans Glide. Tyjae Spears. So to me, I felt like Pollard was miscast as an every down back. To me, Pollard was a young man that you could in the role that he had when Zeke was there his final year, 10 to 15 touches a game. And he's a nice change of pace back, and he can be very effective. I think the extra workload was not good for him. And so I do like the fit of having, Spears be RB1A and then probably be RB1B. So I like that fit for them. Mm-hmm. And if they fix their offensive line, which they probably would do in the draft.
Yeah.
And I think they've already started. They might have signed. Did they sign Lloyd Cushenberry? Who signed Cushenberry? Let me see. Let me double check. Make sure I got my facts right. Yes, they signed center Lloyd Cushenberry from Denver. So they've already started the process of trying to upgrade their line. They've already made some. Peter Skoronski, I believe, is a Titan. Make sure I'm not getting that confused. But I think he's a part. He was a draft pick from a couple of left guard. So they've already started this process of trying to rebuild their line and get better, and hopefully that'll help happen for them. And we'll see what happens. So, but speaking of the draft, let's get into our mock draft. We can jump into this battle rap real quick.
Do it.
All right, so I need to share my screen again. We did the first 4 picks. So if you were just now joining the show for the first time, what we're doing is there's 7 weeks until the NFL draft, if my math is right. If not, please correct me. And so we're going from pick 1 to 32, 4 teams a week, and we're going to have our own mock draft of what we think teams should do. So we're going to pull up the screen here. You'll see what we did with the first 4 picks. Then we'll go through the next 4. So let me share my screen. We want mock draft share. Sweet. Let me get. Sorry. This is. So as you can see, with the first 4 picks, we went Caleb Williams to Chicago, Jaden Daniels to Washington, Drake May to the Patriots, and sorry, Titans glide. We took Joe Alt off the board already and sent him to the Cardinals. So on the clock, Jim Harbaugh and the LA Chargers. And so they are a team that is in the midst of a rebuild within themselves. They've already had reports of them putting Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen all on the trade block, right? And I believe in the case of Mike Williams might ultimately be outright released if they don't find a trade home for him. So there's a lot of needs for this team because they're up against it on the cap. So I'll ask you, so we can look real quick. Let me get out of this, see if I get to the overall. Hold on. There we go. So right now on the board, we got Marvin Harrison, we got Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Rome Odunze, Cooper DeJean, bringing a revolution for the white cornerback. Byron Murphy at interior. So what do you think we should do here at pick number 5 for the Chargers?
So, the storyline is one of 2 things. It is, I got your Chrome hat. The storyline is one of 2 things. It's either Harbaugh's first draft pick being a buy, or it's Harbaugh, which I personally still think that Marvin Harrison goes instead of Joe Alt. So he doesn't have to, in our mock draft world right now. Or it's Harbaugh taking Malik Neighbors over Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's a Buckeye. So because at this point, I'm not picking Brock Bowers here. I can trade down to get Brock Bowers. Nobody else needs tight ends, right? It's not a huge need for them right here. So what I'm doing is if Marvin Harrison Jr. is available at number 5, to me that's a no-brainer. It just depends on how much go blue is left in Harbaugh.
So to be fair to Harbaugh, he has, when he was with the Niners, he did draft Buckeyes. He took Carlos Hyde in the 2nd round, running back out of Ohio State.
Come on.
I'm just telling you, he does have a history. Now, I think the thing that's interesting, I went and looked this up in advance of the show. Jim sometimes, at least as part of the brain trust, would sometimes zig while others zagged. And what I mean by that is in one year, he took
others don't steal signs, and Jim Harbaugh steals signs. That's what you meant. So,
allegedly, let me say. I don't know if hilarious. No, so one year they had pick 30. This is the year they made the NFC title game with the Niners at pick 30. They took a wide receiver named A.J. Jenkins out of Illinois. And if you go to yourself, who yes, that is the answer to that question.
Yeah.
He did not pan out. There were other players they could have had. And so it would not surprise me when you say, hey, if Marvin Harrison's there and he says, we want to take Roman Dunze or Malik Neighbors, it would not surprise me in the least if Jim decided to go in a different direction than what the conventional wisdom says. So, but we're not Jim Harbaugh, and we're not fools.
And we're not fools.
We're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. Right. For sure. So that's number 5. Okay, Giants on the clock at number 6. So let me just say one last thing about the Chargers before we move on. The Chargers are one of those teams where reports are coming out that they are interested in moving back, trying to acquire more draft picks because, again, they're up against it on the cap. Those 4 guys that I named take up something like 40 or 50% of their cap as it is. And please, if I got that number wrong, please correct me. But they are high cap hits, and they're trying to rebuild their team. So with that being said, let's jump to the Giants. The Giants have a lot of needs, as you can see, according to Pro Football Focus: quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line. God, I mean, just put all the position groups on there. Why don't you?
They don't have coach in there? You can't got one of those.
Yo, shout out to Brian Daboll, man. I'm not gonna talk too bad. He did well the first year. The second year was not so good. And unfortunately, as you can see, the top 3 quarterbacks have already left the board. So they are in prime position, I believe, also to try to trade back to acquire picks if they don't, or maybe trade up, maybe to number 3 and go get Drake Mayer.
They just added. I know defensive line. I know they just added defensive line.
Brian Burns. So they got Brian Burns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. They traded for Brian Burns with Thibodeau. They'll have him there. Man, wide receiver. I mean, wasn't last year? They took Jalen Hyatt last year. Probably what? Was it second round or
second or third round?
Yeah. I know they do. I mean, they still need more wide receivers. At this point, I don't think we're reaching for JJ McCarthy. I think you trade back. There's no reason to try to pick JJ McCarthy here at 6, especially since the Falcons. I mean, I don't know if this is updated, but the Falcons no longer have a quarterback need.
True.
But you got the Bears. I don't know. I'm probably going to go. Who's the best available offensive lineman?
That's going to be Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. So let me go OT. Well, and gentlemen, please forgive me if I'm screwing these names up. But Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State, he had a really great combine. Troy Fautanu had a really great combine. Yeah. J.C. Latham, Amarius Mims. I've seen Amarius Mims go top 10, by the way. Really? So, I mean, you have options, right? I think.
What are you thinking?
Oof. So it is important for the Giants to get this right because they have missed on offensive line recently. Evan Neal being one of those. He was let me be fair. He hasn't hit yet. He struggled. He was moved from tackle to interior because he was struggling so heavily. So it is truly important for them, whether they have the quarterback of the future on the roster or not, to try to make sure that they hit on the offensive lineman pick. If I'm going to go one, I'm not going to go Amarius Mims because I don't think he has 20 starts to his name. Now,
what about the DJ Turner? What about DJ Turner?
Wait. Oh, you're talking about defensive player.
Yeah, the Alabama kid. Is he high up
in he's somewhere here. Let me keep going down.
Dallas Turner. That's his name. My bad.
Dallas Turner. Yeah.
Oh, he's an edge. I thought he was a linebacker.
No, he's edge. But technically they're all linebackers, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, I'm going to say let's go with best offensive tackle available. And I'm going to say Talise Fuaga from Oregon State.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that either. Boom.
All right, Titans Glide, if you're in the room. We've already so Titans Glide says Olu hasn't given up a sack in 2 to 3 years. So this is what we're going to do for you, Titans Glide.
Yes, we're taking Olu right now.
Right, we're going to.
Well, I was going to go offensive line anyway. I was going to go offensive line. I mean, now Traylon Burks. We're still not sure about him. On the wide outside. Who do they
have? They still have DeAndre.
They
got Chiggy at tight end. They have Chiggy Okonkwo. We talked about Spears. We talked about Pollard.
But they don't really see wide receivers.
They're not sticking out off the top of my head. Here, let me see real quick. Let me see what we got. Matter of fact, I'm gonna share this tab instead. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
All right. Can you? So at wide receiver, they have someone named Chris Moore. I'm unfamiliar with your game, sir. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
I've heard of Kyle Phillips. They have someone named Mason Kinsey. Again, forgive me, sir. I'm unfamiliar with your game. And then Traylon Burks and Colton Dowell. My Lord.
Do they got another first-round pick? Do they got another first-round pick? Because they need them both.
Woof. So let me get Titans Glide input in here.
I think
Burks is done. Chris is on a 1 year. Oh, okay.
It's just hop.
I mean, we might need to go Malik Neighbors. Listen, we might have to go Malik Neighbors. Yeah. We got to give Will Levis another weapon. So let's go Malik Neighbors, man. Wow.
The question would have been, would we went Rome over Malik? But
you know what? I probably moved a little bit too hastily there. Yes.
Yeah.
I personally think Rome Odunze is wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot separating him and Malik there, right? So I mean, it's like a 2A, 2B situation.
Yeah.
But I personally am a fan favorite of Rome. All right. So last one, and we'll be done with the football. We can jump into battle rap. Atlanta Falcons, QB's no longer in need. Wide receiver, edge, and cornerback. So we can let's see if we can. We're going to add wide receiver and edge to the board so we can see what we got. So in terms of on the board right now, according to Pro Football Focus, Rome Odunze and Dallas Turner are the top 2 picks at edge and wide receiver. Then you got Jared Verse, Laiatu Latu, Brian Thomas Jr. So we're probably going to be picking between Rome and Dallas. What do you think the Falcons need more? Should they go wide receiver?
When you feel the need of quarterback, I think that they trust that Kirk is going to make some of these receivers better. We know Drake London is a starting wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know who they else have on the other side.
Hold on, I got you. I'm about to share this tab for you so you can see it.
Oh, they got Mooney. I forgot they picked up Mooney. So they picked up.
Picked up Mooney. Yes.
So the need for wide receiver is a little less. With the addition of Kirk Cousins and the bringing in of Mooney. So I'm probably gonna go defense here. I mean, you in free agency, you're making a lot of offensive acquisitions, and I think that normally leads to in the draft we're gonna bring in, we're gonna be a little defensive minded. So I'm probably taking Dallas Turner right here.
I agree. I think being reminded that they got Mooney. Yeah, I think we go edge here, and you give Raheem Morris a nice little asset to start his regime as the head coach. So,
and after watching what Will Anderson did last year, and Dallas Turner kind of being the same from the same mold or whatever, like it's just an easy pick to make from a drafting standpoint. If he can come in and be anything of what Will Anderson is, you're very happy at getting that. Even in the top 10.
Absolutely. So. Here we go. We've done the first 8 picks out of 32. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Joe Alt, Marvin Harrison Jr., Talise Fuaga, Malik Neighbors, Dallas Turner. Those are our top 8 in our mock draft here. It's a Black and White thing. Y'all hit us up. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Who did we get this wrong? Should someone have been bumped up? Have we overlooked the player at a position of need for one of these teams? Next week, we got Chicago. We got Chicago again, the Jets, the Vikings, and the Broncos upcoming. So that has been our NFL football coverage. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's jump into some battle rap now, man. Let's get into this. So this weekend, you were in Connecticut. Was it Bridgeport?
Bridgeport, Connecticut. You're still sharing the draft screen.
Oh, my fault. Appreciate you. Boom. Let's get back to this screen right here. Appreciate you. All right. You were in Bridgeport, Connecticut this weekend. Black Diamond Battle League, an inaugural event that went down. You versus Bangs. Sir, if you could give us a recap, how did you feel like your battle went? How did you feel the event was? So on and so forth.
Yeah, man. Shout out to battle rappers that run leagues. There's a handful of them out there. I've battled for man, if I could think about it, Dre Dennis, I battled for him before. Now QB Black Diamond, you can add that to the list. Sharon orchestrated the event that I battled 100 Bullets at. He's not technically a league owner. He booked the matches, and he did all of that. And I just say all that to say that it's a different monster when you're battling. It's your league. You're handling the financials. You're handling the flights and all of that kind of stuff. And QB Black Diamond, man, she was so good. My big thing is always just communication. Making sure we're on the same page with everything. And they're just super, super professional. Had me taken care of. Everything was great. Bridgeport, I'm familiar with, Connecticut. I've been out to Hartford before to perform. I know that, a lot of those states on the East Coast are so small, man. You're 30 minutes from Rhode Island, and then you're here, and but I wasn't sure what the battle rap scene, would be like there. I knew QB was from there, and when you go someplace and you're like, hey, somebody's from there, it's her league, you expect, her people to support her. But man, when I walked into the venue, like, it was packed, bro. I was kind of like thoroughly impressed. It wasn't that I had, little faith in what her following or what she put together, but it was more so just not knowing. But I mean, when you're from an area where you're an hour from LaGuardia, Bridgeport, Connecticut is 1 hour drive from LaGuardia Airport, without traffic. With traffic, it's about 1:40. But you're an hour and a half, 2 hours from Boston. You're like, all of that stuff. Philly is down the road. There's just everything's down the road, Mm-hmm. And I forget things like that because when you're in Kansas City, the closest battle rap city is 4 hours away. And the closest one after that's 8 hours away, so it's a little bit more difficult. So, man, the venue is packed out. Shout out to her. One of the things I tell leagues all the time, like, you want to do it right, hire Avocado. That's step one. You want to run an event? Cool. Hire Avocado, and that's and Avocado was there. He put on, he had everything looking great. He had the setup looking great. The stage, it was a different type of like the stage. The fans were above you, looking down on you. A cool aesthetic to it. And then like the energy in there was good battle rap energy. I spoke on another podcast. It's like when I battled Bonnie, I had fun on Queen of the Ring, but it lacked life. It lacked energy. It lacked that grit, that battle rap feel. Well, Bangs, it was there. It was there. Everybody around. So yeah, shout out to QB again for the event. I got to watch a little bit of the battles beforehand, but I was kind of going over my rounds too, so I was able to peep, City Towers and Slave Seva from afar. I was able to see Ines battling from afar a little bit, and it seemed like things were going well.
Debo and Caps.
I was able to firsthand. I was standing right there when it happened, and I just looked over and I was like, oh, Debo's here. And then I just watched Debo go from there to there, and then boom, everything just happened. And I was like, yeah.
Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment
at all in battle rap. And it's funny because I saw Uncle Ra when I first got there. And I was talking to Uncle Ra, and Uncle Ra said, Angry Fan was here. He's like, I don't know where he went. He's not here anymore, I was like, oh, word, Angry Fan's here? He's like, yeah. I was like, I've never met him, I've been on his show before. I don't have any personal issues with him at all. Like, I go shake his hand, say what's up. But I did say to Uncle Ra, like, he probably left before, like, somebody came in here that's got beef with him. You know what I mean? Like, that was my initial reaction. And, like, that's if that's your initial reaction, you just know like it's probably in that person's best nature to probably not be at events because of, like, do your thing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything that happened to him was deserved or anything, because I don't think that either.
Yeah.
But my first thought is like, wow, you might want to keep your head on a swivel because you don't know. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes, I get into arguments back and forth with people, block people, do different things, and they can hate me, and I pull up and be like, they be on some type of time, and like he does that a lot. So not to go off too much on a tangent about the trash that went on, but I said to keep the hammer with me, right? So, and but yeah, so once he said that, I was like, oh, he probably left, and then he came back, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But anyway, I saw that go down, that commotion, craziness, once again, QB didn't deserve that. That event didn't deserve that. I'm glad they didn't stop the event from continuing to go forward. It was right after my battle, so I was waiting to go onto the pay-per-view live. I was waiting on Bangs to get in talking, and I was just kind of standing back there. But then, after my battle, there was 2 more battles, which I believe were was it
QB
in 45 Focus? Was that who it was?
I believe so, but don't quote me on that. Hold on.
And then QB
and Rex, right?
Yeah, QB and Rex. And yeah, like it seemed to me like I said, I was kind of in the back after the battle doing things or whatever. But it seemed to me like, the 1-rounder with QB and Rex, it brought everything full circle. It was a great battle. Rex was into it. I heard him freestyling up there. He definitely had it was direct material. QB was doing her thing. But yeah, man, overall, it's such a great event, such a great venue, such a great atmosphere. Like, I would love to go back there and battle again. Like, her and I have already talked about it. Whatever we got to do. And then, me and Bangs, man, I think I said it on the show, like, the fatigue and after 5 weeks in a row, bro, like you go fly out, you get there Saturday, you fly back Sunday, you hopefully you get back at a decent time on Sunday, you crash, you wake up Monday. I work, I go to work. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like my 40-hour-a-week job is, very, very time consuming. I'm flexible and able to do things, but I still got to be clocked on, and then that Monday night comes and you want to spend time with family or do anything, hang out with whatever to get your mind off battle rap. And then next thing you know, it's Tuesday and, you're writing or you're memorizing or you got 48 hours to get ready before you get on a plane. And this is 5 weeks in a row, man. And the fatigue and just everything and just not wanting to write, it's hard to write when you don't want to write too, and so going into the 5th of the 5, I was just like, man, I just really hope that this isn't, lackluster, that I'm able to, put things together and approach this battle. And I was really just hoping, and you never know. I was like, man, I really hope I'm locked in rebuttal-wise. I really hope the atmosphere and everything, the energy just creates an environment to make me just feel good about the rebuttals. And I won the coin toss, and that was one of the biggest things is winning the coin toss, letting Bangs rap, and then just setting the tone from there on. And I think, what you saw was Bangs rapped, and then I rapped, and it was 1-0. And then Bangs rapped, and then I rapped, and then it was 2-0. And then Bangs rapped, and then I, like it just every round, and that's, shout out to Bangs. But I was just clicking on all cylinders, especially rebuttal-wise, performance-wise, crowd control, even the writtens that I did use. I didn't even get to half of my writtens because I cut my rounds just to honor the time, because me and Bangs talked about it before, like, hard cut off at like 2 minutes, it was supposed to be 90-second rounds. Like, it's cool. And I didn't want to abuse that because I'm a good opponent and I stick to my word when it comes to not doing that. Tay Rock, I'm rapping 9 minutes. I don't care what you think. They're going to have to take time on me. But when it came to, my situation with Bangs, I cut my rounds. And yeah, and plus I had done enough. I was going second, I'm feeling like, this round's won. So, but shout out to Bangs. I rock with him heavy. Great sportsmanship, fun battle. And he had, had a crazy rebuttal, the Josh Giddey rebuttal that he had. I thought was
the 17 over your head.
Yeah, it's just not like. And I was hoping for a little bit more of that to kind of make it that kind of classic, But I think that's really the only one that hit for him as far as his were concerned. But he had some decent material too. But yeah, man, it was just an overall great weekend. Like I said, 5 for 5, man. I don't care what you think. Like I don't feel like I lost a single battle at all. I know for sure I didn't lose, to Story St. James and, Bangs. And, I feel like I clearly beat Bonnie. I feel like I clearly beat Bullets. And then the 2-on-2 is a 1-rounder. Like it's gonna be one of those like kind of like preference battles. You got a lot of jokes and everything from Clean and Mac, but me and Loso were doing a lot of stuff they didn't do. But yeah, I just feel like I clearly won every battle. And that's 6 battles for the year now, and to me, that's 6 wins. And, we're coming up on Tay Rock.
Dope. So let's get into that. Ward versus Rock. Announced this week. Going down on the Riot, Orlando, April 28th, man. So how you feel? How you feel about this now that it's officially been announced?
I'm feeling really good, man. I was curious for the announcement. I was curious to kind of see what the reactions were. Because Rock's outside, and we talked about it. He's got 5 battles before me, or he's got 4 more, and then I'm the 5th. And so it's kind of like I didn't want it to get lost in the sauce. But the one thing that Riot does well is they don't do a lot of events, and when they do events, they put together the matchups that that are not like, that's cool. You know, they put the matchups that people want to see, not just oh, he hasn't battled him already. Oh, cool. Like, I'll watch it. You know what I mean? And, you know, I think with me and Rock, that's a battle everybody been wanting to see, especially with Rock being the face of URL, me not ever being on URL, it happening on neutral ground, you know. The announcement, I was really pleased with the announcement, what everybody thought of it. And I believe that Rock's not taking his opponents lightly, but I do believe that Rock wants to put on a show against me, you know. And I don't look at it as a situation where he's just like, I need the money, you know, A Ward, da, da, da. I think Rock, out of all of the opponents that he has, is like, I'm gonna beat him. You know what I mean? And that's just a testament to what the respect he has for me. And me, man, I got 40 something days now, and that's just A Rock, you know. And I've been doing all these battles on right in the week of, you know, and so now that I got 40 days, there's no excuses. There's never any excuses because, you know, I'm a professional, but like there's a lot of attention I can put in. I could write 6 rounds, you know, and I could take, you know, the best material of 6 and pack it into 3. And you know, that's what I really want to be able to do, is I want to be able to research my opponent. I want to come up with unique angles and different things like that. Sometimes when you're pressed for time, you're unable to do that. So I want to make sure everything's unique, make sure something's not kind of been said before, make sure, you know, it all applies to them and be tight knit.
Yeah. Yeah. So you made a little bit of a joke about the time limits. I think when you battled, Real Sick, right? That was something that was brought up of, you know, not by you in particular, but by those who reviewed the battle, who are keeping score, right? That he rapped longer than you, right? And so to me, I find it funny that the response to that is, well, it's a big battle. You got to write 4 minutes. You got, if it's 3:30, you got to write 4 35-minute rounds. So with that being said, if whatever the time limits are, do you plan to write each round an extra minute's worth of material? Or are you just going to stick to the time limit?
No, I plan to write until I feel like that round is done. So that's how I'm going to write for this battle, you know? At the end of the day, I don't believe in cheating. I just don't. I don't believe in knowing that your battle contract says this and purposely going the extra 2 minutes, whatever, unless you've had a conversation with your opponent and said, look, I'm rapping till they cut me off. You know what I mean? Because we're not enemies in this. It's like, you know, like there's not a lot of these battles are battles, you know, like I can hit up an opponent and be like, yo, this is what I'm doing. That's what I did with Bangs the night before. That's what we did, you know, before the battle. Yo, it's 90-second rounds, 2-minute cutoff. You cool with that? I'm cool with that. Bet. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, like you said, unfortunately, it doesn't matter in the culture. Everybody's like, yo, Ward got smoked by Frack and Real Sick. He lost last year. Whatever. That's all he goes talk about. A Ward's got L's against those 2 guys. You know? I don't want to. It's just not in me. It's just not in me to just go in there and try to rap 5-6 minute rounds, which I could. I could write 10-minute rounds if I wanted to. Like that's how much I write already. You know, I could do that, but it's just not in me to just. I have too much respect for Tay Rock. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna write till the round's finished. You know what I mean? And if that means going to 30 seconds over, because usually 3 minutes, 3:30 grace, whatever. If I stick them all at 3:30 or whatever, I'm gonna stick them all at 3:30. If I feel like the round's finished at 3:10, I'm gonna quit at 3:10. But I'm not gonna purposely just go in there like that. And it's probably, I think you've said it too before. People told me always, Ward, you're too nice. You're too nice, Ward. You don't need to be in this culture. You're too nice. But I just can't. I can't do it.
Don't get me started, because I'll be like 5-minute rounds.
I can't do it.
Start the clock. You at 4:30? No, we're not dependent on rebuttals. We need 5 minutes, and then we're gonna have a minute of it. This is why, again.
I do have the ability to write extra, and if in the battle I see that my opponent's obviously decided to cheat and double the time limit, that maybe the second and third round I'm able to lengthen out my rounds. But I think that's what you see too, is even in those 2 battles last year with Frack and Real Sick, I'm trying to rebuttal because I already know your material is so much longer than mine. You know what I mean? And when we're talking about at least 1 to 2 minutes a round, you got to understand that's like 64 to 80 bars, of material in a battle. Like that's a huge difference. That's anywhere from like, anywhere from 20, like 10 to 15 to 20 punchlines.
Yeah.
It can make a huge difference when we're on a professional level. So, that, and it's just like, man, I write what I get paid for too. I'm definitely bringing the Bible gun bars, gun Bibles versus gun titles. It will be there. It will be there. Gun Bibles versus gun titles. The Gun Line King versus the Bible Gun Line King. We'll have to figure it out. But yeah, it's gonna be good. So.
So I see this comment from Titans Glide. I don't feel like Big K wrote over the time limit. I think his material was getting so much reaction, he was bringing it back. So his rounds ended up
that's
becoming
that's a vet move. And Rock does that too. Like he'll say the same punchline again, so that the crowd can say it with them. And that it creates more engagement with the crowd because they're saying it with you, and then they're ready for the next one. You know what I mean? So that's a vet move that I kind of learned from DNA. I'm not big on it. Sometimes you'll see me in battles. Like I think against Vixen, I was like, I'm gonna run this one back real quick.
What I mean?
Yeah. Because I want to give that to the fans because I want them to have the ability to yell out, the punchline or whatever. Sure. I didn't think Big K did too much over the time. You know what I mean? And another thing was this: I canceled the first battle. I was sick, right? So when we go into the second battle, I'm not going in there like time, right? Like I made you wait. You probably wrote some more. You probably was pissed off. He's probably ready. You know what I mean? Like that's on me.
Yeah. We gonna make sure he's getting plenty of sun. He's getting the vitamins, taking his Flintstone chewables.
Yep.
Drinking, we're drinking water.
Yep.
Yeah. All that good stuff. All the healthy stuff. Right? Yeah. We doing that. So I'll say this about Rock, man. I know there was a lot of backlash from the committee for him not winning Champion of the Year for being number 7 on the list. I think he's getting a lot of love because he's outside a lot more than he has been in the past, right? Rock normally, years ago battled mostly on URL. He might step out maybe once every couple of years on another league. He mostly battled on URL, but you've seen him now. He's been on OSBL. He's been on iBattle, right? He just was at Black Ice Cartel. And let me put a pin right there and say, if you haven't gotten the VOD for the Black Ice event, go check it out. I thought visually it looked very good to have that cage. I don't know if Ruin Your Day or who was behind the filming of that. I thought they did a really good job. The only thing I hope to see when they drop on YouTube, if they somehow got a camera that's an overhead shot that's looking down into the cage, that would make it it's already great. That would be the cherry on top. But to get back to Rock, he's outside a lot more. He's giving these shots. And like you said, he respects you, right? Like he respects you. He's been, even you had the Damian Priest little line on Twitter and he's like, yo, like, I can't wait, right? So there's a mutual respect there. And while as much as the culture likes a grudge match, right? Like they like a storyline and like a back and forth in the lead up to these battles. To me, some of the better battles are when you have a person who says, yo, this is a great opponent. If I come in here lacking, I'm going to die. And so you're going to get, to me, in this run, and look, Rock's got some names lined up. Like you said, in the 3 weeks leading up to your battle, there's Bill Collector, there's Los Preem on iBattle, and then you. Like those are not
Darius Jones this weekend and then Prep the next weekend.
Like this is, I don't know if he got, A-War like motivation when he finishes 7th and they go, oh, well, Rock, your resume isn't, up to your normal standards. And he goes, oh, okay, well, watch this, right? And now he is front loaded his schedule with all of these names, with you being the one at the end. But I expect that his best performance is going to be against you. Because again, this is granted, Rock versus Los Preem, Rock versus Bill Collector, Rock versus Sirius Jones, that has a backstory to it, right? But I think of all of those matchups that have been announced, maybe Sirius is probably the more highly and Mama Ward, I'm gonna send you my Cash App. But that comment says, "I will pay my son to drink water while not at a battle." So I'm gonna get it on video. Just send me $1. Send me $1. But I think that outside of Serious Jones, I feel like of all the announcements that have happened for Rock that have been announced, I think this is probably the second biggest of them all. It might be the most anticipated of them all because of the two participants involved. And that's no slight to Bill, Prep, Preem, right? Like those are all phenomenal matchups, and I can't wait to watch them all. But to me, this is going to be the one where you're going to see the best Rock. You're going to get obviously a top notch performance from you, and I do think, right? I think you talked about this with 3. Go check out the interview that you had with 3 on PSA Hip Hop Reloaded. You talked about like people are already saying like this is battle of the year, right? Right, and you talked about the pressures that come with that of trying to live up to everybody's expectations. I feel like you did that last year with the Verb battle. I feel like the year before that, the Nitty battle, right? And so, like, I'll say this last thing. It took me a while to come around, like you, on being a Rock fan, right? When I first got into battle rap, and I said, "Who do I watch?" and you said Tay Rock, and so I went and just started put Tay Rock verses, and I remember telling you like, I don't get it. And there's a tweet. It's the Hollow battle, right? I get to the seatbelt bar, in which he was cooking before the seatbelt bar. Like, just to be fair, I get to the seatbelt bar, he says it, and I get on Twitter and I go, I get it now. Mm-hmm. Like that tweet is somewhere in my archives. I tweet you and say, I get it now, right? Like, and ever since that point, like I've been a fan of Rock, and he's a true Mount Rushmore candidate because every time you step out, win, lose, or draw, Rock is giving you his best.
Yeah.
You may not always be in love with the material, but he is giving you the best that he's got every time out. And that is something that, like yourself, like a Danny Myers, like I'm going to throw a DNA into that list, an Av, guys like that, who every time you step out, you getting your money's worth, you appreciate those guys in the culture. And he just happens to be one of the greatest battle rappers of all time. And I think that's super dope.
Yeah, it's a legacy battle too. Everybody knows that. I was a battle rap fan before battle rapper. Remember watching Rock. Remember watching Young Rock. The videos of like 16-year-old
huge
Rock.
hat, just barking on dudes.
Yeah, man. Just I said it on 3 Letterman and PSA Hip Hop. Man, it's just like, man, I do consider myself to be one of the best battle rappers of all time. I do. I mean, and I mean that humbly, like just because of the work ethic I've put in and what I've done. But I still love meeting people when they say, "You battle rap?" Yeah. Have you ever? I battle Tay Rock. They're like, "You battle Tay Rock?" You know what I mean? Like he's one of those names. You know what I mean? He's a Mount Rushmore name. He's a guy that has put in the work, that has been, Mr. Consistent. And it's just really, really cool to see him outside like this, and so, yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm not gonna poke the bear. You know what I mean? I'm not out here to create some, go in spaces and talk about how trash he is or this, that, and the third. If I do say I didn't like a bar or I thought this was okay or whatever, I mean it, but he's Tay Rock, and I'm fully prepared. Well, not only that, it's like, man, you're going to get a little bit of a different Rock when he battles me, and people are going to be excited. Like, it's not going to be the same Rock that's battling Bill Collector, Prep, Serious, Los Preem. It's not going to be that. He's going to be a little different, and it's going to excite people. And I'm happy for that because I think it's going to help put on a crazy batch.
Man, last thing, and we can move on. Are you prepared when whether he goes first or you go first and you end your round, and all of a sudden you get, "Hey, yo!" And then the crowd just goes crazy. But he has not spit a bar. He has simply yelled, "Hey, yo," and everybody's going. Are you ready for that? Are you prepared for that moment?
I'm just as ready as in that first round when Verb needed his showtime to come out the gate with, in the first round. And I heard him say it, and I said, here we go. In a room full of St. Louis,
I really cannot. That's one of those things you had to be there for.
Yeah.
I really cannot get people to really understand. Like that room probably had about maybe 200, 300 people, maybe.
Yeah.
And it sounded like 7. It sounded like double. 2-minute rounds. Dang, book me. No. I was like, oh
he
my
had to
God.
say nothing else. He had to say another word.
Literal goosebump moment. That was like little goosebumps. Like that was crazy to hear a crowd sound like a large room in that small room. So shout out to Tay Rock, shout out to the Riot, shout out to the whole team there. Going down into April 28th in Orlando, Florida. All right, couple of things and we can get out of here, man. Let's go through this real quick. Mike Masters Alliance. They have an event going down this weekend in Salt Lake City. It is 48 in the lake, excuse me. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Every battler on that event is aged 48. I don't know if you knew that or not.
That's hilarious.
I think Marv might turn 49 before, but maybe it's average. It might be the average.
That's what's up. Shout out to them. They got a battle 48 in the lake event going down this weekend in Salt Lake City. You can get the pay-per-view when you do. Choose the rapper that you are there to support.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure they got some analytics running on that lets them know who are the fan favorites, who they should probably bring back out, so on and so forth. So I think there's more. I think it's a 2-day event, but there's only, I think 6. It's 48 in the lake. Of course, it's a 2-day event, but I only have a flyer that has 6 battles in front of me. So we're going to go through those battles real quick. Stretch versus Forward Dev. I will start off. I am familiar with Forward Dev. I'm not familiar with Stretch. I'm going to go Forward Dev 2-1. I'll give Stretch a round. You, sir, go ahead.
You saw Stretch, I believe. You saw him battle Loso if you watched that one rounder. Loso battled him when I battled Emerson Kennedy, I believe. Stretch.
Yes, I watched Forward Dev on Riot. I watched him in different settings, so I am familiar.
Yeah, I like Dev. I'm talking about Stretch. I was talking about Stretch.
Stretch. My fault.
Yeah. He battled Loso when I battled EK. It was a 1-rounder. I don't know if you've seen it or not. But anyway, Stretch is actually talented. He's a good rider. I just think performance-wise and some of the other intangibles, Dev's going to be too much for him to handle. So I'm going Dev, yeah.
All right, next one, 40 Bars versus Fendi. This is a 1-rounder, by the way.
The only one-round battle. Very interesting. Man, I think Fendi's very talented. I like Fendi a lot. I don't vote against 40 Bars and 1-rounders. It's just not happening. 40 Bars is 40 Bars for a reason, so I'm taking 40.
Except against Loso. But yes, you are correct. Shout out to 40. 40, I also have 40. She's one of the GOATs for a reason, man.
Yep.
All right, Real Deal versus Holmesy, the Gizzard.
Yeah. This should be a really good battle, man. Holmesy is determined to just battle everybody I'm in a crew with and not battle me. So, shout out to the Drosy boys. Marv got him up out of here. Now it's Real Deal's turn to get him up out of here. So yeah, I'm going Real Deal Edge. I think Holmesy will be very good. I like Holmesy a lot. This is very I wouldn't say Real Deal's an underrated angler, but Holmesy is a very underrated angler in battle rap. And so I'd be interested to see kind of how he approaches the Real Deal battle. If it's angles or if it's more just aggression and gun bars and different things like that. Remember Salt Lake City is a different type of crowd. It's a very, very different type of crowd too. So I'm eager to see if some of the people that haven't battled there before, how they'll approach the crowd. But I'm taking Real Deal.
All right, I'm gonna go Holmesy. I'm gonna go Holmesy 2-1. Dope back and forth, but I'm gonna edge Holmesy in that battle. Shout out to Real Deal though. Real glue guy. Mm-hmm. Real glue guy. Real.
He gives it all on the floor. He lays it all out on the floor.
First one in the gym, last one out. You know what I mean?
That's facts.
All right. Next one, Quest McCody versus Rum Nitty.
Yo, how do you pick against Rum Nitty? Like, is this you don't, right? You don't. So I might let you do the last couple because I've heard Nitty, I've heard Quest rounds, I've heard Marv's rounds. And I don't want to, be on here saying, who I think is going to win, how I think it's going to go, and give any kind of, any kind of inclination or whatever. But I'll just say this much: Marv and Quest are both professionals. They're completely locked in, man. They're so locked in, and I think they're both going to do incredible. And they're battling Rum Nitty and Av. And it's not a 2-on-2. These are 2 single battles. So if you're watching, so Rum Nitty versus Quest and Marv versus Av. Rum Nitty is he's Rum Nitty, bro. Like, it's one of those, like, do you really beat Rum Nitty, or do you just put on a classic with him?
And also a Rum Nitty that has not battled in 2024, and I don't think has battled since Foots.
Yeah.
So the alien has literally been sitting on bars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all due respect, I do think we're going to get a great Quest because I think Quest knows what's up. Like, I think he respects the pen of Nitty, and so I do think we're going to see a really great Quest. I think we're going to see a really great Marv as well. Shout out to him. He's got an album dropping soon. Go get that vinyl. I need to go do that. Maybe when I get paid, I go cop the vinyl. But I'm actually going to take Marv in that battle. I think I expect the jokes to be aplenty in that battle, though, just from this standpoint, because if you follow Marvin and Av on Twitter, they have a ton of old man, fat guy jokes that they get on. I mean, threads.
Hilarious.
Hilarious threads of them roasting each other, going back and forth. And so I expect the jokes to fly in that one. I'm going to go Marv. Marv has been in a different bag lately, man. He has been in a different bag, a different space. And so I think he's going to step up for that one. And then we get to the main event, the Source versus B Magic.
That's going to be a good one, too, man. That's going to be a really, really good one. Like, last time I saw B Magic was when he was out there battling Emerson Kennedy, and B Magic was cooking. I'm not going to lie. Him and EK in that battle, Magic was getting busy. Last time I thought the Source, he battled Saga in the one rounder out there. Well, last time I saw him on Mike Masters, and he was getting busy in the Saga one rounder too. Like, these are two guys that have battled out there before that the crowd's gonna be familiar with. They're already familiar with them. It's two legends in battle rap, the Source and B Magic. But it's tough to pick. I'm going with the Source. I'm going with the Source. In a battle that I think is going to be one of the better battles of the night. And, this is a battle where, not saying that B Magic does anymore, but like a stumble could really, make or break a battle like that, and I trust the Source to be very, very locked in, even though the Source just battled, and B Magic's kind of been sitting. So the Source just battled Pepe on King of the Dot this past weekend, but yeah, I'm edging the Source.
I was ready to take the Source, and then you mentioned that he battled last weekend. I knew that already. It was just brought back to my remembrance. And so I am going to go B Magic. B Magic had one of my favorite battles of the year last year versus Arsenal. I forget, there was another battle on GTX where I feel like he did really well. I don't remember the opponent. You mentioned the EK battle.
He battled Low Pesci in GTX.
Low Pesci. Yep. So this Titans Glide says Mama War versus 40 needs to happen. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But no, I got the sword. I got my names mixed up. I got B Magic. Winning that battle. And so that's our show, man. We appreciate y'all tapping in. To those of you who are watching on YouTube, first of all, we say thank you. If you can, make sure you hit that like button. If you can't, share the broadcast. Even though we're going on the air, just to get us into the algorithm. We want to be the algorithm bulls out here, you know what I'm saying? So we appreciate that. Please remember, you can catch every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for It's a Black and White Thing or Brains and Bars. Give us a 5 stars, share the broadcast, leave us comments, and then you can also check us out every week on YouTube. Again, rate, review, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, tell a friend and tell a friend. It's them boys again. You can catch us on Twitter. I'm at A1THelp. That's all letters. It's A1 the LP. At Brains and Bars. At IM_A Ward. Anything else, sir?
Nah, man, I'm good. March Madness is coming up. Let's go. For sure. Until next time, it's been a Black
and White Thing, man. We'll holler at y'all next week. Be easy. Call your mother, Ward.